Picture yourself walking alone on a quiet street late at night in Japan. The streetlights cast eerie shadows, and the world seems unnaturally still. Suddenly, from the corner of your eye, you notice someone standing just ahead. A woman, dressed in a long coat, wearing a surgical mask over her face, a sight that might not seem unusual at first. But as you get closer, she approaches you with deliberate, slow steps. Her eyes lock with yours, cold and unsettling, and she asks, in a voice like a whisper on the wind, "Am I pretty?" This is the beginning of an encounter with Kuchisake-Onna, the Slit-Mouthed Woman, one of Japan's most infamous urban legends. Welcome back, you over 1,400 subscribers and newcomers who haven't subscribed yet. Today, we are discussing Kuchisake-Onna, the Slit-Mouthed Woman. So, turn off the lights, sit back, and join us, shall you? The legend of Kuchisake-Onna dates back centuries to the Heian period of Japan, though some versions place her origin in more recent times. According to the most common tale, Kuchisake-Onna was once a beautiful woman, the wife of a jealous and violent samurai. Obsessed with her appearance, she often attracted attention from other men, much to her husband's dismay. His jealousy boiled over one day when he believed she had been unfaithful. In a fit of rage, he took a blade and sliced her mouth from ear to ear, disfiguring her forever. As she lay bleeding, he sneered at her, asking, "Who will think you are beautiful now?" The tragic woman died from her wounds, but her spirit was far from at rest. She returned as a vengeful ghost, cursed to wander the streets of Japan, seeking validation and revenge. Masking her mutilated face beneath a surgical mask, she now stalks unsuspecting victims, especially children and young people walking alone at night. Kuchisake-Onna is no ordinary ghost. She doesn't haunt abandoned buildings or appear only in dreams. She confronts her victims in the most ordinary of places, quiet streets, parks, or even just outside your front door. She always asks the same haunting question, "Am I pretty?" At first glance, with her mask on, she seems like a normal woman, beautiful even. But how you answer determines whether you leave the encounter alive. If you say no, she flies into a rage, pulling out a pair of long, gleaming scissors. In one swift motion, she slashes you to death on the spot. If you say yes, her masked face shifts into something more sinister. She removes the mask, revealing the grotesque, gaping wound that stretches from ear to ear, her mouth cut wide into a horrifying grin. "How about now?" she asks, her voice cold and unnatural. Here's where it gets worse. If you answer no again, she kills you immediately, carving you up with her scissors. But if you say yes, thinking you can escape her wrath, she still isn't satisfied. In some versions of the legend, she spares your life but gives you the same mutilated grin she bears, slicing your face so that you will forever share her fate. So how do you escape her? Some claim there's a trick to surviving an encounter with Kuchisake-Onna. You can confuse her by answering her question with a vague response, such as, "You're average," or "so-so," buying yourself time to run away while she hesitates. Others say tossing candy or money at her will distract her long enough for you to flee. But even these methods are not foolproof. Kuchisake-Onna isn't just a legend whispered to scare children. There have been numerous sightings and encounters with the Slit-Mouthed Woman, especially during the 1970s and 1980s when the legend saw a resurgence in Japan. In fact, her appearances became so widespread that schools issued warnings, advising children to travel in groups and avoid walking alone at night. One of the most terrifying encounters occurred in the late 1970s, when reports began to circulate of a woman in a red coat who was seen approaching children on their way home from school. The children reported seeing a masked woman who asked them if she was pretty. Witnesses said that several children who had encountered her became hysterical, claiming that the woman had revealed a grotesque smile beneath her mask. Some of these children even disappeared for days, only to return with no memory of where they had been. The sightings caused such widespread panic that schools in certain areas banned students from walking home alone. Another unsettling account comes from a woman who encountered Kuchisake-Onna while returning from a late-night shift at work. As she passed a narrow alleyway, she heard soft footsteps behind her, followed by a woman's voice asking, "Am I pretty?" The woman, already feeling uneasy, quickened her pace but could still hear the footsteps following closely. When she glanced over her shoulder, she saw the figure in a long coat and a surgical mask, keeping pace with her. Terrified, she ran, never looking back, and managed to reach her home, where she locked the door behind her. But as she caught her breath, a soft knock came from the window, a knock too quiet to be from a human hand. She dared not open the curtains. Even more disturbing is the story of a young boy who encountered Kuchisake-Onna while playing in a park late in the evening. The boy, who had heard the stories of the Slit-Mouthed Woman, had been dared by his friends to visit the park after dark. As he wandered the empty playground, he felt a strange, cold breeze that made the hair on his neck stand up. He turned to see a woman standing at the park's entrance, her face hidden behind a surgical mask. "Am I pretty?" she asked, her voice echoing through the night air. Remembering the warnings, the boy stammered, "You're okay." For a brief moment, the woman stood silently, as if processing his answer. Then, without warning, she turned and walked away, vanishing into the shadows of the park. The boy fled, never returning to the park after sunset. The story of Kuchisake-Onna continues to haunt Japan, not just because of her grisly appearance, but because of the deep psychological fear she taps into. Her question, "Am I pretty?" seems simple at first, but it hides a much darker threat: the fear of saying the wrong thing and paying the ultimate price. In a culture where beauty and appearances are highly valued, Kuchisake-Onna's grotesque mutilation and obsession with validation create a terrifying contrast between societal ideals of beauty and the horror that lurks beneath the surface. Her legend also speaks to the fear of isolation and vulnerability, as she preys on those who are alone. Walking down a quiet street at night, you're never quite sure who or what might be waiting for you around the next corner. The fact that she appears in ordinary places, schools, parks, city streets, makes her legend even more terrifying. She could be anywhere, and you wouldn't know it until it's too late. Kuchisake-Onna, the Slit-Mouthed Woman, is far more than just a ghost story. Her presence in Japanese urban legends embodies deep-rooted fears of beauty, violence, and the unknown. Whether or not you believe the tales of her haunting encounters, one thing is certain: her story has left an indelible mark on the imagination of those who hear it. The next time you find yourself walking alone at night and hear a soft voice ask, "Am I pretty?" be careful how you respond. You might just find yourself face to face with the Slit-Mouthed Woman, and when she removes her mask, your answer may be the last words you ever speak. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed today's video, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe, and ring that notification bell for more creepy tales. Have you ever heard of Kuchisake-Onna or experienced anything strange? Let me know in the comments. Stay safe, and until next time, my friends.